her album No Burden. She's going to be in town next week performing as part of City Folk here in Ottawa. I'm really excited to welcome her to the airwaves, and we'll be very excited to welcome her next week to our city. Lucy, how are you doing?
Doing good. Thank you for having me.
Hey, it's a pleasure. And I just should check, and I should have checked before I turned on a microphone and things like that. Did I say your name properly?
I did you say Dacus? That's the right way. I
No,
couldn't
I
pick it
said
out.
Dacus. Dacus,
It's
okay.
okay. You're one of many, and I am not offended. It should be Dacus or Dacus, but it's actually Dacus.
It should be. Okay. That song is so beautiful in so many ways, but I do want to ask you about that closing right away. That if you want to see the world, you have to say goodbye, because a map does no good hanging on a wall. I love that idea, that sentiment, but I mean, wall maps, man, you can't get them in your car or anything like that, so they're pretty difficult to drag around with you. But I love the metaphor or whatever you're trying to paint there.
Right. Well, that comes from me being a person that does keep maps on my walls, and it's always been something to inspire me to travel more and to kind of have a wanderlust and maintain that desire. And then I realized that hadn't gone anywhere, and I just had moved from place to place and kept, folding up the maps and then folding them back out and taping them to the wall. And that thought kind of made me leave town and do some traveling.
But you moved around a lot as a young person, didn't you?
Yeah, not like with my family,
Yeah.
but traveling and not really extensively until like 2 or 3 years ago, like once I was in college.
But now you must be traveling a lot with the band.
Yeah, we don't stop traveling now. Careful what you wish for.
That's right. So the maps are all off the wall and in your back pocket, are they?
Right. Well, it's mostly Google Maps these days.
It is. It is.
Not
It's
so glamorous.
no, it's not. And it's like, don't you think that we kind of? It's interesting you bring up the Google Maps thing because, I'm pretty good with maps and I actually enjoy maps, but I find I don't use them as much anymore. And it's so simple, right? To ask that machine to tell you when to turn left and turn right and all that stuff. Do you think we're losing that kind of sense of direction maybe because of that?
Yeah, I think maybe we have a better literal sense of direction, but maybe a worse, like, internal sense of direction and, being self-propelled. Google Maps makes it so that we're fulfilling assignments instead of creating our own destiny in a way. And in ways, it's really convenient. And a lot of times when you're driving, you're not trying to create your own destiny. But
That's true.
if you do want to submit to wanderlust, I'd probably say use a map and not your phone.
Yeah, I mean because it's all about efficiency too with the Google Maps, and I love that. If it's rush hour and I've got to get somewhere and it tells me some bizarre little route I've never considered before, but you're certainly,
Hmm.
and I guess maybe it's funny because in some ways you might stumble upon some stuff you've never seen or experienced before, but I still think you might find more interesting things with by using that map, if you know what I mean.
Right. You can see like, oh, 10 miles to the east, there's this big patch of green or this big patch of blue on the map. Let's just, you know, turn right and see what happens.
Check it out. The other thing that I really love about that song, well, there's two other things that I really like. I actually feel like I could talk to you for about a half hour about this song alone. One of them is that very beautiful and kind of plaintive request about, please don't make fun of me. And also on the album, you're talking about you don't want to be the funny one anymore. And this kind of theme seems to crop up now and again. Is that you speaking, or are you speaking through using words of characters in your songs in those points?
I guess it's me speaking, and that's why it might be a little bit redundant there. But, being the funny one and then being laughed at are two separate exchanges. Like being made fun of is different than being funny. And I guess the reason why that comes up a lot is I guess I was writing all these songs trying to reclaim my identity, or at least forge my own identity that I was happy with. And, I had tried being funny or, the comical friend, and I don't know, it wasn't really rewarding. And then realizing, asking people like, don't make fun of me, or realizing that if people do make fun of you, they're not, it's not founded in anything you have to believe about yourself. And I guess they just both have to do with me becoming who I want to be.
Right. And do you feel like you're there now? Is it you as the songwriter? Is that the you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm the funny one anymore. I don't know, maybe I lost my comedic edge. And people don't really make fun of me, or if they do, they're people who I love and trust, and, it's good to get a good ribbing every now and then from the people who truly know you. But, life throws new elements. I don't think I'm exactly who I want to be yet, but that's an ongoing, reevaluation, and I do try to be intentional about who I am and, fix the spots that aren't quite right yet.
Right. I think that if we get to the point where we think we're all quite right, then maybe maybe we need to keep thinking, you know what I mean? Of that sort of sense of...
What are you going to do after that?
I don't know. I'm not there yet, and I'm much older than you, so I don't know if it ever comes around. But you do want to have a sense of probably that, kind of, at least you kind of know where you're at or whatever, or self-confidence or whatever, and things like that, right?
Yeah.
As a songwriter, do you feel that you're there? This is your first album. This is your first stuff that you're getting out for the world to take in. A lot of people seem to be critically warming to your music. Do you feel comfortable there now under that spotlight?
At times, yeah. I mean, it's funny. Like, there are people who make me uncomfortable, and there are people who make me feel like I really do belong. And it's a case by case basis. I've been trying to find a consistent community in this music industry world, and there isn't a consistent community. A lot of people have preconceived notions of what it's like to be a touring musician or a rock star, and either I agree with some people or I really don't. I mean, there are plenty of people I meet who I couldn't disagree with more about what this life is like. And so yeah, I'm comfortable when I meet my kindred spirits, and I'm uncomfortable when I meet people who think much differently than me, but I try to be open-minded, as one should be, I guess, when you meet anybody.
Right, because once you get like this record deal that you've got and you're out in the world, you're going to meet all types, right?
Right. And luckily, the people I've chosen to work with, I all trust. I trust them, how they do their work, how they live their lives, and, the people who are especially close to this project, luckily they're not the people that I disagree with.
Right. Well, it's interesting how that came together, right? How you got this, if I'm paraphrasing this correctly, you got an offer for a very narrow window of recording time at a studio, and you got in there with your friends and you got this stuff down. I'm wondering, I mean, there's interesting things about this recording that I really quite like in the sound, like the tone of your voice. It's really personal. It's very intimate, the way you deliver these songs. And then there's the tone of the guitars, both acoustic and electric, that they've got a little bit of edge to them and grit to them. Was that what you wanted to accomplish, or was that part of the process of how you had to do it so quickly, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that was a goal to begin with. We couldn't really hone it in, so I'm really happy that it came out like that on the first try. I mean, Map on a Wall specifically, that was our first and only take of that song, and we did it live. I don't think we did it to a click either, and we just had to move on. We had to hope that it was the right take, and maybe we could have done a better take if we had done it again. That one specifically, I wonder if it could have been better, but I don't need to belabor that.
Awesome. You're coming to town. You're bringing your full band with you?
Yeah, it's going to be the four of us.
Awesome. I have to make room because Broken Social Scene is calling in next, and we're going to be talking to them. But I wanted to wrap up by talking...
Oh my gosh. I love them.
They're pretty great, eh?
So great.
Yeah.
They're like, I've called them my favorite band before. I don't know if I have a favorite band, but they're really something else.
Do you have a question that I should ask Brendan?
No, I can't.
That's okay.
You need to give me a couple months to come up with the right one.
Okay. I wanted to wrap up by talking to you about Dream State, a really great song on the album, and the line in it that without you, I'm surely the last of our kind, and then you change it throughout, and then without you, I am surely the last of my kind. And that is actually also, if I remember correctly, the last line on the album in another song. So it's really interesting how that lyric changes and then how it crops up at the end. Is that a really strong lyric for you then?
Well, Dream State and the last song is Familiar Place used to be one song, and so we actually put them back together when we play it live. We do Dream State and the Familiar Place back to back. But, you know, if you buy the vinyl, Dream State ends side A, and then Familiar Place ends side B, and I was hoping that theme would kind of carry across and people would, you know, remember it the second time they hear it and make the connection to Dream State.
It's a great song. It's interesting. I was talking to my daughter about it last night, and she was saying she thought it sounded like someone in love with an alien.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah.
Now I have to go re-listen to it and see if she's right.
She's a big fan of singer-songwriters, so she was probing away on that one. Listen, it's a pleasure.
Awesome.
It's a pleasure to meet you on the radio. We look forward to welcoming you to Ottawa next week as part of City Folk, Lucy. Would you be okay with us going out on Dream State then?
Sure. Good with me.
Okay.
Thank you for talking with me.
Hey, good luck with it. It's a fantastic album, and good luck getting it out to the world.
Great. Well,
Okay.
Thanks so much.
Okay, we'll come by.
Enjoy.
Yes, we'll come by and say hi to you when you're in town next week.
Cool.
Okay. Broken Social Scene is up next, folks. This is Lucy Dacus. I said it right?
Yep, that's it.
From her album No Burden, this is Dream State. Thanks, Lucy.